Every afternoon, policewoman Xu Yanling holds a group sharing session with a dozen drug users under rehab treatment. At this government-run facility, Xu is not only responsible for supervising their daily routines, such as sanitation and housekeeping, she also gives rehabilitation tutoring. She finds that young people who fall for drugs often have similar stories to tell.
他们认为就是说，似乎觉得吸这个东西是一种时尚。
They seem to think taking drugs is fashionable. They often go to bars or nightclubs. Since their families earn good incomes and don't restrict their spending, they can easily come into contact with drugs.
China had 480,000 newly registered drug users in 2014, and experts say there were two worrying facts about this group of people. First, 7 in 10 of them were aged between 17 and 35. And secondly, 80% of them use synthetic drugs like these. Synthetic drugs, such as methamphetamine and ketamine, are those that are taken from various man-made narcotics and mixed into new forms. They don't need to be grown and extracted from plants as traditional drugs like heroin or marijuana do. Experts say the rise of synthetic drugs correlates with the increase of young drug users.
Compared with traditional drugs, synthetic drugs are cheaper and easier to be made, and they're easier to be taken as well. For example, one drug is called milk tea. It can melt in water and be drunk right away.
Xiao Jie has been a counselor at this rehab institute for 8 years. The youngest drug user she's helped was only 16 years old. Xiao says that young addicts often share similar motives behind their drug taking.
Some kids think they can quit synthetic drugs anytime they want. Some don't even see these drugs as narcotics. Their family environment also has a lot to do with their addiction. Some kids grew up in single-parent families. Furthermore, young people often have strong curiosities and like to try fresh things. The more their families restrict them from doing something, the more they want to try.
Experts say drug addictions among young people are usually intertwined with deep parental and personal issues. Early family guidance and care are key measures to prevent young people from falling for drugs. Well, as you can see, young drug users often follow similar paths. They grew up in relatively affluent families but lacked family care, and they enjoyed social life but made problematic friends and fell for drugs eventually, Xu Yan.
And you also mentioned the rise of synthetic drugs and its prevalence among young people. Just how serious is this problem?
Well, Xu Yan, as we can see, let me point out one figure for you. In 2014, for the first time, the proportion of synthetic drug users in China exceeded that of traditional drugs such as heroin and marijuana to reach nearly 50%. Whereas traditional drugs often have to be cultivated and manufactured abroad before being brought into China, synthetic drugs can be made domestically. This makes it more available and cheaper for young people who don't have a lot of money. That's why they pose a particular danger to this group of people. And in fact, I'd like to show you a screenshot. I shook hands with my interviewee Xiaoming after our conversation, and my video photographer happened to capture this moment. And what touched me the most is that Xiaoming is at exactly the same age as me, and we were born in the same year. He's my peer. But really, drugs are not that far away from our lives, and anyone could become addicted. And if he hadn't, he could have a completely different life.